What's up, nerds? Welcome back to Minifest and Chill. Still working on that name. Hopefully, I have some interesting news for you guys here in the future. I'm joined once again by Kurt. What's up, Kurt?
Hey, what's up? How's everyone doing?
Good, brother. And Mr. Phil. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing pretty good. We promised you nerds last time that we were going to talk about some Switch games, and we're on the last final days for the big drop of Switch 2, which I know we're all starting to get a little heartbeat racing over. So we sat down and we talked about our top 25 Switch games, and these could include legit Switch titles or the NES classic stuff, the GBA, the N64, and all that wonderful stuff. So it's sky's the limit. Why don't Kurt? Why don't you share your top 25, brother?
Okay. So I'll start with my 25 through 11. I'll do the first 15 there. Full disclosure, I think my first list had like 34 games on here, so whittling it down was really hard, and figuring out the order was also tough. And interestingly, my top seven or eight, actually my top 10 were pretty easy, but these other ones, it was just hard to kind of nail them down and hard to rank them. So, but because there was just it was the best generation, so there's a lot to choose from. So, number 25, I got Skyward Sword. 24, Fire Emblem Engage. 23, Pokemon Scarlet. I don't mind bugs, so I loved it. 22, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I do think it was better than Scarlet. 21, Mario's 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, mainly for the Bowser's Fury part. Number 20, Octopath Traveler 2. 19, Animal Crossing New Horizons. 18, Splatoon 3. 17, Luigi's Mansion 3. 16, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. 15, I put Sonic X Shadow Generations. I loved it. That was awesome. 14, we're getting into some indies. Hades. 13, Hollow Knight. 12, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And 11, I mistyped, but it's 11 is Celeste.
All
Celeste
right.
is a fantastic title. I love those games.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was great.
I'm a
What
little
about your top
surprised that
10?
Echoes of Wisdom was at number 12. I thought that would be higher.
I, Again, it's just that's how stacked this generation was. I mean, in my opinion, it's easily the best console generation ever, right? Just
Oh yeah, for
it,
sure.
There,
yeah, yeah.
there's absolutely a lot of Zelda titles in this generation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's for sure. So my top 10. I guess sticking with the developers of Celeste, number 10 is Towerfall. Uh, I mean, Quicksand. It's just it's my favorite. When we're in person, it's my favorite social game. Um, Number 9, Cuphead. Again, sticking with the indies. We all know how I feel about that one. Um, Number 8, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I think the battles in Engage were better, but I think the story and the characters and the music were better in Three Houses. And also this is Nintendo, who's, I mean, technically it's Game Freak who puts out Pokemon, but they've had two versions of Pokemon all this time. The fact that you could get one version of Fire Emblem Three Houses and play all three routes and the hidden fourth route is amazing. I've done three of the four routes. I'm almost done with I'm halfway through the fourth. 160 hours in. It's amazing. I love it. And quick thing, one of the Fire Emblem Awakening, I think it was Awakening, or no, it was the one after this, Fire Emblem. Anyway, it was Conquest and Birthright, Fire Emblem Fates. You did have to buy different versions of the game, and so it was awesome that they gave you all three or four versions in the one pack. So. 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Again, it's just, this is a stacked lineup, so that's why it's so low. I'm also not the biggest Mario Kart fan, but I have, hundreds of hours playing with people and enjoying that. Number 6, Metroid Prime Remastered. Uh, Nothing more to be said about that one. They perfected an already perfect game. 5, Smash Ultimate. Uh, it's my favorite multiplayer game. Towerfall you can only do in person. Smash you can do anywhere. So it's the best Smash there ever will be. I do think there's going to be more Smash, but I don't think they're going to top this. I think this is as good as it's going to get, and that's why I wish they would just port it and bring more fighters over. That's my ideal situation for this generation. Number 4, Mario Odyssey. It's my favorite Mario game, my favorite 3D Mario game, and just thinking going back like to first playing it and experiencing New Donk City for the first time, and I won't spoil it, but the ending for the first time, I just think few games hit those highs for me. Um, it's a shame it came out the same year as another game on this list because it should have been Game of the Year that year, except there was one thing that was definitely better. Number three is might be a surprise, it's so high, but Metroid Dread. It's came out a few years ago now, and I'm confident in saying that it's my favorite Metroid. I love it. I think the platforming is perfect. I think the atmosphere, the graphics, the combat, I love it. And so it's my number three favorite Switch game. Number two and one are pretty obvious. The order is the only thing that's probably interesting. Number two is Breath of the Wild, and number one is Tears of the Kingdom. And the reason I order it that way is Breath of the Wild, real quick first. Yeah, I mean, you can't match the feeling of going to the Great Plateau the first time or discovering things, and also just the physics engine, the fact that you're in the volcano area and you pull out a wooden weapon and it burns. That's amazing. You shoot an animal in the frozen tundra and it freezes immediately. It's amazing. The rain, the wind, you could start a fire and glide up. I mean, again, you can't beat those physics. It was just the most mind-blowing thing at the time. If you strip away the fact that it was first and that nostalgia, Tears of the Kingdom does it all better. So, in my opinion, and I know that some people will disagree whenever he goes, but in my opinion, Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is the better game. Even if I don't have the warm fuzzies I had with Breath of the Wild, it's the better game. It has the better story. It has the dungeons are better than the Divine Beasts. The final boss is my favorite final boss in Zelda ever. The whole sequence there. It takes everything Breath of the Wild did and goes further. The depths and the sky, I know some people criticize that there's not much there. That's fine. There's so much to this game. That's okay that it wasn't the most expansive thing in there. I mean, you still could explore. You still felt so weak. We'll go into the depths so often. And the last thing I'll say about it is the genius of it is you could create as much as you want. People are making X-Wings or Gundam or whatever. You could make whatever the heck you wanted. But if you're not into that thing, if I remember correctly, you really didn't have to make anything. You could get through the entire game without really making anything. And to me, that's the brilliance of that game and the Zelda team and everything they're doing there, is that they made this whole mechanic that if you love it, you can go extremely in depth with it. If you don't like that type of thing, you don't need it. And for the most part. And so to me, that's just the brilliance of Tears of the Kingdom and the Zelda series in general. But that's why I put that one, I'd say, is the best Switch game. Again, it doesn't hit the nostalgia and the warm and fuzzies that Breath of the Wild did, but it as a game, just standalone game, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is my number one Switch game.
I think you
Nice.
had to do some light building in the
Yeah,
tutorial.
yeah, maybe a
Just
little.
light.
Yeah, glider,
Just to
very light
learn.
stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember having to make a bridge from one island to the next.
stuff like that.
Right.
But like, if you didn't want to make these crazy big, you didn't have to, which I think is really cool.
Basically, like once you learn how to make the speeder bike, that
Yeah,
was
that's
all
fine.
you needed to
Yep,
complete the game.
to get
But
around.
if
Yeah.
you really wanted to make something exotic and find all the Koroks and join them all
Yep.
together again, that
Yep.
was really
You could.
cool.
You could
I
exactly. And
will
I
I
love
will
the.
say
Okay.
with the new Zelda app coming out and the how you can like remember file share from Halo? You know how like okay,
I
Pat
did not.
okay, so Pat, do you remember like when you would make something in Forge and you could upload it to your file share and anyone I guess could find it and download it?
Yes.
And yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of with like this new Zelda app and people are putting out their own creations. So now you don't have to think so hard and build things and you can let other people do it for you and
That's true.
experience all those awesome things that you're seeing all over YouTube about like the walking mechs and the X-Wings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, once the Switch 2 drops, that is one thing that I'm gonna look
Yes.
into
Yeah,
is
that's gonna
That
be.
Zelda app.
Yep, I'm gonna be going to obviously Mario Kart World, but then aside from Mario Kart World, the first thing I'm doing is Tears of the Kingdom. I've been wanting to play it again for a few months now, but I don't want to burn myself out before I can play it in 4K and just use the app and the loader faster loading times and stuff. It also has, I mean, I already did this, so I can't do it again, but the whole Lucky Clover quest, which is one of my favorite quests in all of Zelda. Pen's just a great character, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited. Again, I've kind of been itching to get back in, but I'm just trying to wait, well, now another week,
Yeah,
to really experience it again.
me too. I there's so much that I haven't done in that game that
Yeah,
it'll be nice to get back in, just jump in for a little bit and
yeah, check it out.
try to
Yeah,
refresh myself because it is a lot.
yeah, oh yeah. So yeah,
But
that's my 25.
That's pretty stacked lineup. There was
Cool.
one that you were missing in there though that I'm sure one of us is going to bring up here soon.
uh-oh.
But Phil,
Hmm.
I'm curious now how you're gonna respond to Kurtz. Is he going to be right?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
It may have been an honorable mention if it's the one I'm thinking, but we'll see. Because I did have
'Cause
honorable mention. I just don't want to take up too much time.
I'm not gonna lie, my list it's similar. It's definitely not.
Yeah, I figured.
It's similar. Um, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout down.
All right. So for this list, I chose games and ranked them based on the impact that they had on me. So there will be a bit of a curveball in the top 10. I'm sure you won't be surprised by it. But all right, so 25 Towerfall, 24 Starlink Battle for Atlas, 23 Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, 22 Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, 21 Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, 20 Super Mario Odyssey, 19 Skyward Sword HD, 18 Astral Chain, 17 Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, 16 Super Mario 3D All Stars, 15 Link's Awakening HD, 14 Super Mario Wonder, 13 Monster Hunter Rise, 12 Nier Automata, 11 Metroid Dread. So my top 10, at number 10 we have Metroid Prime Remastered, and basically the same reasons Kurt had. Like, it's a near perfect game and they somehow made it better, and it looked really good. I loved being able to play it with the twin stick controls. And it just really brought me back to 2000 whatever, Phil, experiencing that same magic when I first, you know, saw that game. I think that was the first Metroid game I ever played, because I
Wow.
saw the cover of Nintendo Power, and I was like, that game looks cool.
It was the first one
Um,
I owned. Well, that and what's it called? Fusion came out the same day,
yeah,
which is crazy. Also,
I
fun
didn't have a
fact.
Game Boy Advance, so
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah. Random fun fact, and I haven't. This was from late last year, so it may have changed. I doubt it. You know how every game gets like day one patches and day one updates, and there's always version one, blah blah. The fun fact about Metroid Prime Remaster, it's still version 1.000. It's the
really,
original version
it's
it
never
shipped
been
with.
updated.
Never been updated. It's that good,
It's
which is just
that
kind of
good.
You
funny.
don't have to.
It's that good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty
And you
crazy.
got to admit, you loved hearing Fendrana drifts on your TV screen again.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so
So
good.
my number 9 was Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, and that had a big impact because it was your playable Zelda. And I was telling everyone, like, this game is important, and here's why. Like, if you want to, all these people want to be playing as Zelda and Zelda this, Zelda that, this is the game that you need to support. And now we have the Hyrule Warriors game, where you're also, I mean, you played as Zelda in Age of Calamity too, but I think you're going to be more, it's definitely more focused on Zelda in this game. And this is another, I feel like this is another trial. Like, let's see how well this game sells. And then I'm almost confident that the next mainline Zelda will be either, like, you're still going to play as Link, but probably between the two of them. Maybe they'll try and compete with GTA 6. You can just have Link and Zelda open world, and you can just go from one to the other. Um, Number 8, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, and I I love Animal Crossing, and the thing I always tell people about Animal Crossing is you get one good year out of it, and then it's just stale. But it was a pretty good year. It was, COVID. Everyone says like this is their COVID game. This wasn't really my COVID game. Final Fantasy VII Remake was my COVID game.
Oh
I
yeah.
played that because I was off work for a whole month, and I just played the heck out of that. But yeah, a lot of people love this game because like there was nothing else to do. You couldn't go outside, so you went outside in your make believe world. Um, I just enjoyed it because I liked making my island into my own little thing. You know, 5-star island. Um, Looking forward to the next Animal Crossing, whatever it might be, whenever it might be. I feel like I would really love like a hub area because it seems like with the Switch 2, Nintendo's really starting to focus on social and like being together. And I think Animal Crossing New Leaf or something, maybe not that one, maybe another one, had like a social hub area. You know. So all right, number 7, Fire Emblem Three Houses. That was my first, I think, yeah, my first Fire. I don't know. It was one of my first Fire Emblem games, and Kurt, you heavily recommended it, and I was just like, you know what, screw it. I've got an extra so and so amount of money. I'll go and get it, and I loved it, and it was great. I still have not finished all 3 of them though. I finished whatchamacallit, the what are they? Black
Black
Eagles?
Eagles, Blue
Black
Lions,
Eagles.
Golden Deer, and then
Yeah,
Ashen Wolves are DLC.
Black Eagles, and I'm in the middle of the Ashen, no, not the
Blue
Golden
Lions.
Deer.
Oh, Golden Deer. Yeah, that's the one I
Yeah.
need to finish. I did all the others. Yeah, and it's funny. I didn't realize I recommended it to you. I also recommended it to Royce. Shout out to Royce, who's might be listening, and he got super into it. And he actually has an autograph from, I believe, from Dimitri, head of the Blue Lions, who I just
Uh-huh.
realized also voices Rauru in Tears of the Kingdom. So that's actually a really cool one.
Didn't he pass away?
No, that was Claude.
That was Claude.
Claude passed
Okay.
away. Fun fact, or sad fact. I mean, he's from Hershey, I think. He was from Hershey or this area, and
Wow.
he voiced Claude in Fire Emblem Mount Howe, so which is pretty cool. But yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad my recommendation paid off because yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's a great
Well,
one.
I mean, another recommendation might pay off once I start playing it this weekend, so we'll get into
It
that
will.
later.
It will.
Um, Number 6, and this one is the wild card one, but this is the first platform that I finished this game on. Final Fantasy VII. It's the first game that I actually finished the game on. I never had a PlayStation before a PS4. So I never had the opportunity to play it. I kept hearing about it, like, oh, Final Fantasy VII, it's the greatest game of all time, blah blah blah. Then the remake trailer dropped, and I was like, wow, that looks really good. But I should really, I owe it to myself to play this game, and it was $15 on the Switch. I bought it, I played it, I loved it, and here we are. I'm a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, so that's why that game that is over 20 years old is at the number 6 spot on a console that is 8 years old. Number 5, Tears of the Kingdom. We'll get it. We'll get into that later.
Mm.
Number 4, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Again, I'm not, like you said, Kurt, I'm not the biggest Mario Kart fan, but it is fun, and it's crazy that it's still like the top selling Switch game after
Yeah,
8 years.
it's got like
Relevant.
yeah, yeah.
It's just a fun game to play,
It's got a ton
regardless
of
of.
courses and tracks, and it's easy to pick up. It's easy to have people jump in and play together online. I mean, yeah, like my family got into it over COVID. They were in Boiling Springs. My brother was in I don't even know where, and we were able to play very easily. So it was yeah,
I really hope that World has that same kind of magic and momentum.
yeah, yeah.
Number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The only reason that I can guess as to why there isn't another Xenoblade Chronicles on this list is because I just haven't had the time to play any of them. They're really long games. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a really fun game. I put almost, I don't know, 95, 100 hours into it. And
Now I'm fascinated because sorry, I thought I knew who your top three would be, but there's one game that isn't going to make your list, and I'm gonna be shocked
ooh,
why. Anyway, go ahead. I'm
we'll
sorry.
get into that
I
later.
did not see that one coming. I'll say that.
Keep
Controversy.
that in
Yeah,
mind. Keep
yeah.
that in mind.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know what my top 2 are. They're the only 2 left.
Yeah, so how
So,
did Odyssey not make your top 25?
Odyssey, oh, well, Odyssey was number 20.
Oh, okay, it did. Okay, all right. All right.
Yeah,
It was on the
it
top
made it.
25. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Did
All
I
right.
skip that?
I might have
I don't think.
misheard. I might have misheard.
All
You're
right.
fine. You're fine. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Let's
I'll
hear the top
repeat
two.
it. I'll repeat it for you.
No, that's all right. So the top two. Then what order do they come into?
What do you think my top two is?
I think your number one's going to be Smash. So I think Breath of the Wild's number two.
Pat, do you agree?
I think your top one's Smash. I don't know what your
Wow.
number two is. Surprise
Wow.
me.
You guys know me so well. Number two, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So Breath of the Wild, when first played this game, was so magical. Tears of the Kingdom is a great game. Love it. But if I had to take the two games that left more of an impact on me, it was Breath of the Wild. Just entering that world for the first time. And I played that on the Wii U first.
Oh,
I
I didn't know
put
that.
200 hours into that game on the Wii U and then an additional 200 hours into it on Switch. That's how good of a game it was for me. Just doing anything you want. And like I said, Tears of the Kingdom, like the sky is great, the depths are great. But when I first landed on the surface, I knew exactly where I was. I knew what that was over there. I knew what that was over there. It just didn't have that same magic. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let's head to such and such town. Oh, I know where that is. It's over there. Like, there was some differences, like that town, the Tarry Town.
Very fun.
That was
Mhm.
fun. I
Total.
liked that. But I think just going off of impact, Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom, yes, it's a better game, but Breath of the Wild was a better experience.
And you said you were going based on experience and impact, and that's why I knew Smash would be number one because I know, and you'll explain, but I knew Smash is.
Number one.
Yeah.
1-2 Switch. No. Smash Ultimate. For obvious reasons. I'm a huge Smash fan, and this game has a lot of sentiment about it. This was my trigger game. I didn't have a Switch until this game was released or announced. I'm sorry. This game was announced March of 2018. I know because I know what I was doing. I was at work. I was watching the direct at my toolbox, and I remember seeing the Inklings fighting, and then the Smash logo. I freaked out. I started yelling at all my coworkers. I was waving my hands in the air like, "People, this is big," and they're like, "Shut up, Phil. I'm trying to do an oil change." No, but like, and then this game, like when it came out right around when my son was born, and always has a special moment because like he was very I don't say he was colicky, but he had reflux. So and he had to be bottle fed. So um he was, up every 3 hours. And since he was reflux, you had to keep him upright for a half an hour afterwards.
Been there.
So this game kept me awake while I was holding him up. Like the otherwise, who knows? I would have fallen asleep, maybe even dropped him. Who knows? I don't say Smash Brothers saved his life, but Smash Brothers might have saved his life. So there's my list.
Thank you, Sakurai.
Thank you, Sakurai.
This is some good choices so far. Now I went a little bit of different route because I'm a little rebel. Mine aren't in order of I like this one more than that one. Top 10 notwithstanding. There is only one game that's on this list, starting from the bottom and going to the top, that I hate. I will never play it again. I have zero interest in playing it again. It is entirely dead to me, and that is Skyward Sword HD. I got
Please
into that
do
game
tell. Do tell.
wanting to go through the Zeldas that I missed because my two good friends are humongous Zelda fans and y'all scream their praises. So I was like, all right, well, I got to hit these things. I got to hit them in order. And then I'll understand some of those things in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild that,
Now,
I picked
I
up.
never said that Skyward Sword was good.
You didn't, but you
I
did
just
say
said
it was bad. And that's just the same thing. I'm holding it against you, Phil. But anyway, yeah, the controls were not good. They were meant for a different system.
Yeah.
Was it pretty? Yes. Was it charming? Yes. The story really didn't drive me, and ultimately it was very, very repetitive and frustrating. And I look forward to the day when I finally get to play Twilight Princess, which I will. But anyway, let's go through the rest of the list, which doesn't
And
need to.
be sure to shout out the one that you were surprised we didn't have, unless Phil had it.
No, he nailed it. He
Oh,
nailed
okay.
it because I
Okay.
thought you were going to say Smash.
Oh,
Ooh.
gotcha.
Yeah. So going from there, I really liked. I do want to give a big shout out to Nintendo and the Switch because it came about at a time, it was really coming into its own through COVID, and we really got a chance to use this a lot for Nerdfest. And it's because of the Switch, its games, and the very easy multiplayer interactions that I made some friends, and present company included, of course. But this really did come about at a perfect time for online gaming amongst family, amongst friends, a tight group of people, because you couldn't just go and see each other whenever you wanted. So I was really thrilled when they started the family plans and you could get Switch Online, uh, Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission. As long as they're on a TV, a watch, a smartphone, I will play them. I love them. They're great. Um, Perfect Dark. Any chance I get to play it, I will play it. GoldenEye. Any chance I get to play it, I'll play it. And Golden Sun 1 and 2, being able to introduce them to my friends, that made me very happy because I got to see you guys enjoy them. That took me back to 2003, 2004 when I was playing with my friends, and not everybody had instant messenger. So we would have to come to school and be like, okay, when you got to this dungeon, did you use push? Did you use the time stop? What did you use? So I was excited to be able to share that with you guys, and I'm glad Nintendo brought that into the fray. Now, Switch exclusive games. I got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Hades, which was good, was recommended to me, and I enjoyed it. Not my jam, but I enjoyed it. Binding of Isaac, too. Not my jam, but I enjoyed it. Um, Mario Wonder, it's not my jam. I don't really think I enjoyed it.
It's funny.
Um,
That was one of my honorable mentions. It was in my top 30, but not top 25. I don't know why. Just because I like Mario games, I like
right.
platformers, but something about it just, and I like that it was so much better than the new Super Mario Brothers games we've been getting. Like, I like a lot about it, but and I enjoyed my time with it. But kind of when I beat it, I was kind of like, okay, I don't know why I didn't.
You know what it reminded
I
me
think
of?
I enjoyed the wacky zany fun of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
Oh yeah, the
like the
wacky
yeah.
zany fun was
psychedelic
great.
stuff was
Yeah, I
just
don't mean
really
to be
fun.
down on it. It's just I'm surprised I didn't like it more, I guess is what it is.
Did you guys ever play? I think it was Rayman Origins.
Mm-mm.
It's a Rayman game. Um, there's no real plot, and every level is just kind of its own thing. So there's ones that are like music based, ones that are racing based, and like it's just a cluster of fun. Like the people that designed it were like, "Hey, we like all sorts of games. Let's put all sorts of games under this one umbrella." But every mission feels like a bonus mission that you would play after a story. That's what Mario Wonder felt like to me. Like every mission just felt like, "Oh, I already beat the campaign and unlocked this mission to play." But that was every single one. So it was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is a fun little throwaway mission." It never felt like it mattered.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I never finished it.
Mm.
But getting into Link's Awakening, the remaster. I was excited for that. It was fun to play. I was honestly shocked at how much I remembered. Um, the art's still not my favorite, and
Mm.
I'm never gonna like it. You can't make me. But Link's Awakening was my very first Zelda game ever. Getting the remaster was great. I'm glad to see that they cared about it since they were remaking everything else. But I'll start that one in my top 10. Indie games. Tunic was a
Good
fantastic
choice.
little game to play, even
Great
though it was
choice.
very difficult.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
Kurt, you
very.
figure out how to change the difficulty and
Yes.
do different
Because that was
stuff. And
brutal. Yes.
yes,
It
yes,
was
it
good.
was.
It's extremely good. Great choice. But
It
yeah,
was a
very
nice
tough.
learning curve, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I particularly like that the instruction manual for the game you collected
Yes.
as you went, and it was like a
Yep.
traditional Game Boy or a SNES instruction manual.
Yeah.
That was pretty groovy with all the lore and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I've been waiting a long time to play a game called Fez, and they
Yeah.
put that on the Switch. That was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. That's
Um,
cool.
I got lost halfway through, but the Switch ended up being very indie game heavy for me, so I enjoyed playing that. There was also a game called Salt, which was a lot of fun. It was a goofy little game where you're basically like in an old like Renaissance style village, and it's all like uh, Cthulhu based. What was the author that made those books?
Lovecraft.
Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft. So it's that kind of thing. So you're a person trying to go around and get rid of these entities that are terrorizing a town. So it's like it's a little top down, cartoony kind of thing, but you had to learn spells and you have weapons and things like that, and you have to handle hordes of enemies in different situations. So that was a lot of fun to play. Um, Towerfall, Towerfall. I made a lot of friends. People at Nerdfest, we got to play together. We got a pretty good group going for that. Um, Metroid Prime Remaster. Y'all mentioned it. I'll mention too. It was a perfect game, and it was a perfect game with a little bit of icing over it. And it was wonderful. Uh, Number 4, Metroid Dread. Like Kurt said, it's my favorite of the side-scrolling Metroids. Um, I was really glad to see it go back to that style, even though I love the first-person aspect
Yeah.
of the Prime games, because I'm a first-person guy. Going back to the side-scrolling and that huge world, the story was so good. The droids were, that
Yeah.
raised your heart rate a little bit.
And it's funny because I've seen some people criticize it because of those, but those sections I think were just long enough. Like,
Right.
it wasn't like they overstayed their welcome where you're being hunted the whole time, but it also wasn't like it was real. Like, I thought it was, which again is just testament to the game design. I thought it was just enough of those zones that they would raise your heart rate, and then when you're starting to get bored or frustrated of it, you get into that room where you get the thing to kill them, and it's like, oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Um, I think I'm on 3 now.
Yep.
3, I will say Breath of the Wild. Y'all are right. Tears of the Kingdom is a better game. There's more to it, but like Phil said, that entry into that universe and that style, being able to use fire to create wind and freeze enemies in the cold, and that was really something. And coming from a guy that was really only just getting into the 3D Zeldas, that was a huge leap forward for me because I started back in Ocarina of Time and never finished it because I never owned it. So advancing that far, and especially after doing Skyward Sword, it was like, all right, well, that was a Zelda game, and then to do those games, like, whoa! But I never would have bothered if it wouldn't be for a guy I met at Nerdfest named Kurt, who
Happy to
said,
help.
you need to play this game. I will loan it to you. Take all the time you need and enjoy. And I did. It was fantastic. I 100%ed that game, which has never been done in a Zelda game for me. And then in Tears of the Kingdom, I kept the ball rolling and I 100%ed that too. Um, 2, I was gonna say Mario Kart because of the connection between me and the Nerdfest friends for that, but
You hate Mario
I'm
Kart.
what's that?
Don't you hate Mario Kart?
I hate it. I hate all racing games. If you know anything about me, you will know that I hate racing games. But some people decided that I couldn't get away with that, and they bought me Mario Kart 8, and I felt duty bound to them to do my best and to learn it and play it, and not tooting my own horn. I got really good at it, and now some of them are regretting that they ever bought it for me. Ha 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 ha. But anyway, my number 2 is actually going to be Mario Odyssey. Um, that was a really, really fun game, and I didn't think it was gonna be, but it really, really mattered. And like New Donk City, that was my favorite level out of all of them, especially the finale, moving around the building while the song is playing, to like
Yep.
the
Fireworks and
classic kind of
yep, the
that just
2D side scrolling. Yep.
yes, that got me right in
So
the
good.
nostalgic feels.
Yep.
And that brings us to my number one, which of course is Smash Ultimate. I have loved Smash Brothers since Melee. I only dabbled a little bit with the N64 one, didn't really know all that much about it, but from Melee up, I've hit every single Smash game. And in fact, if it wasn't for Smash U, I never would have bought a Wii U. I didn't have
Yeah,
any interest in it.
same.
None of the games I was interested in, and I thought, all right, well, I'm gonna save my money and give it a pass. And they're like, "Did you know there's a Smash Brothers game coming out?" Like, so I bought it. You don't have to bleep that one because I said crap. But Smash was huge. Smash has been a huge influence at Nerdfest. We played it all throughout the pandemic, and there was this Nerdfest where a new guy showed up named Phil. I
Hey
don't know
there.
if you guys know him or not, but Phil happened to be really good at Smash. And we noticed that he was smashing all of our best players and wasn't even breaking a sweat. In fact, the man never blinked. He just sat there and played away, casually destroyed everybody, and then was like, well, that was fun. Thanks for inviting me, guys. So some of us put our heads together and we're like, how do we do better than that? So we started playing, and just like Dragon Ball Z, Deke, I know you're watching, that one's for you. We raised our power level and we caught up to his hindquarter, and
Yeah.
now we're all in the same arena, all bros, no bad blood, and we're all the better
It was a
for it.
fun night being on top. A
Yep.
fun night.
What's funny,
Yep.
going into it, I was mad because sheep. And here's the thing: now that I've done Nerdfest, seeding is hard, ranking people is hard. I get it. So no offense to the person who did the rankings, I love you, Andy. But we come in and sheep was number one. I was like, that's fine. He won it before. That's fine. I expected to be number two. And there's this new guy, Phil, at number two, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What's this about? And like I felt insulted, and so I was motivated, and I got you into this. I think I finished third that night. I got you in the semifinals, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy's legit. So I felt better once I played you. I'm glad I got to play you that night. Otherwise, I would have been sore the whole time. But since I
The
did play
rest
you, I
is
was like, okay,
history.
yeah, and the rest is history. And
The
then
rest
we're
is
always the
history.
top three, which is cool. But
And now
yeah,
here we are, one big happy family.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, that was funny. I was like,
So I
who?
kind of waxed poetic there about the Switch and its virtues. What did you guys think of the Switch and its storied history?
You want to go?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I think it's the best console generation of all time. I think, especially if you include the SNES library and the N64 library and all the other libraries, and it really is. But even if you don't, I mean, it has, in my opinion, the best Zelda, the best Metroid, the best Mario, the best Smash, the best Mario Kart. I mean, and the Switch too, I'm very excited for it. I'm excited for more power. I'm excited for bigger. I'm excited for this and that. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to top this just because I think these past 8 years have been special. I think the other thing is them combining handheld into the console market meant that they could literally put out a first party game basically every month. Not the past year, which is why things have been a little slow and a little whatever and remake heavy. But it's obviously they're getting ready for the Switch too. But like they had such a cadence. And like I said, I mean, most of my 25 games, the vast majority of them were first party games. And if you expanded it to my top 34, again, most of them were. I barely touched third party. Like, I mean, I played them, I should say, but in my list, I barely touched the third party, and there were a lot of great third party ones. Pat, you mentioned indies. I mean, it was an indie machine. I had a few in there. I had a bunch of others. The Ori games I wanted to include. I mean, there were Cadence of Hyrule. There were a bunch I wanted to include, but the first party content was just so strong and so good, and I think it just elevated everything. All the franchises. There's one franchise a lot of people would argue never really lived up to it, and that's Pokemon. But you take that out of it, and I still enjoyed the Pokemon game, so I'm not even one of those people. But my point being, I think all the franchises, I think, really just hit their highs with this. I just think it's been just the best generation, and I think the past year was a little slower. I think it's no secret they wanted to launch last year with the Switch 2. I think they were holding off because of software and stuff like that and manufacturing, which is fine. Hey, all in due time and stuff. So, I do think it had a little bit of a longer, it stayed on the shelf a little longer than it should have, the Switch. I think, we've seen games being underpowered on it, even first party games struggling on it lately, which I'm not a power or pixels frame rate guy. I don't really care, but even I started noticing. So I think if you cut away the past year, even the past year, there were some good games. I mean, Echoes of Wisdom, so like I think, but even if you cut away the past year, I think it's just so strong. I mean, I think of like 2018, the one year they put out Fire Emblem Three Houses, Link's Awakening, Luigi's Mansion 3, and I know I'm forgetting something else, all within like 5 months of each other, and that's insane. That's a killer lineup. So, yeah, I think it's just been. I'm glad we're doing this because I think it's just been the best generation. I know we're all excited for Switch 2. I think it's important to look back because I just think it's been just such a good generation. And again, to come after the Wii U, which was obviously a failure for them to just rebound like this, and we're seeing them expand into movies, theme parks, I mean, it just feels like they are just firing on all cylinders, and a big part of that is just the success with the Switch, and everything they've been able to do with that, and it's just been awesome. It's been really fun.
And a movie.
And the
Yeah.
movie, yeah, the movie, and yeah,
What about you, Phil?
The Switch literally saved my gaming career.
Mm.
Just with like, working full time, being a parent, I don't really get a whole lot of TV time anymore, what I
Yeah.
used to. And being able to play anywhere,
Agreed.
it's I played in handheld so much more than I thought I would.
Same.
Because before the Switch, I was never a handheld kind of guy. Like I had a DS and a 3DS and a Game Boy Color, and they were okay. But like I just didn't like this. But no, the Switch changed everything. And it is definitely the best generation of gaming, like you said, Kurt. It's like the Nintendo, it's like the NES, you know? Like that revolutionized home gaming. And now I think they're trying to repeat history in a good way.
Yeah.
With the Super Nintendo just being a better Nintendo, Switch 2, or, before it was Switch 2, I was calling it Super Switch because I literally thought that that's what it was going to be. It was just going to be a bigger, better Switch because that is all that Nintendo needed. And all these people that are criticizing Nintendo for not innovating enough or not putting in some crazy, stupid gimmick or whatever, this is exactly what Nintendo needed to do.
What is
I mean, and with the mouse, I'm excited for the mouse controls. I'm excited to play games with like that's a new thing. I'm excited to get in and experience the game chat. I'm excited to play Smash Brothers and see your faces as I win, and just stuff like that. It's
Your
not
nose
nothing
is
new.
growing there a little bit, Phil.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
don't
know.
know if you noticed that.
I'm gonna eat my words later. I know. I haven't played Smash since the last time I played Smash. So,
But speaking of revolutionizing, I mean, first off, game wise, how many Breath of the Wild knockoffs have we seen? And not just Genshin
oh
Impact,
yeah,
but I mean, so many
for
have just
sure.
copied, which is cool. I'm not knocking it. I mean, you're seeing a lot of that. Again, revolutionized.
All the hardware that's been.
That's the other one. I mean, the Steam Decks. Xbox has their thing coming out probably next year, with I forget the company, Asus or something. Anyway, PlayStation has their own thing. I mean, they all are copying the Switch. The other thing is, like we've said a few times, but it's true for indies. I mean, the Switch has been so good for these indie developers and these indie teams and things like that. Thinking of Hollow Knight and Silksong coming out theoretically sometime before I die, you know, I wouldn't have cared if not for the Switch, and I don't think Hollow Knight would have done it. I think it was on Game Pass, but either way, it because I think there's always indies have done well on PCs and stuff, but as far as consoles are concerned, the Switch has been such a platform for indies to be able to thrive and get popular. Hades blew up on it. I just so many of them have. I can't Towerfall. I know a lot of people love in Towerfall. Celeste. I just think it's so cool for these indie developers to have this machine that again, a lot of people don't have PCs for gaming. So to be on an actual console that's accessible and easy to get and everything, I just think it's been revolutionary for indies as well. So yeah, revolutionary is a good word for it. It really has been.
So just to kind of give a fun fact here, the Switch One had 10 launch titles.
Mm.
10. And only let's
Only two are
see,
Nintendo.
one, yeah, two of them were first party. So that and well, three of them were Nintendo Snipper Clips.
Oh, I forgot that was Nintendo.
Yeah, I have the IGN list up here,
Hmm.
but it's crazy to see how they went from literally the bottom to the top. I think it's still the second
Third.
top selling console, right?
Third.
Behind
It's
PS2.
behind DS by only like 2 million, and then PS2. And they, yeah, it's probably not going to catch PS2. They keep finding new ones and jacking up those numbers, but
But yeah,
it is going to catch the DS within the next few months.
it's just crazy how they went from these 10 titles and then all this third party support, all this influence. It's crazy how 8 years ago, Nintendo was at the bottom of the barrel. And then this was just a miraculous comeback for them. This was a revolution in gaming. For
That's
sure.
what they do. They really have their highs and their lows, and the lows are real low, but the high is wow. I will
And the
say for
thing
the
is,
Switch though that the ability to put it in its dock with the controllers attached to it, wrap the cable around it, put it in a bag and go was revolutionary. It's something we all wanted since the beginning of time. And in a way, it almost reminds me of the Famicom, where the controllers clicked into the side of it, and it was a very compact thing. It was super portable, and you could take it anywhere. That being said, though, mini cons suck. They just do. If you're at a get together and you're relegated to a mini con, it's annoying. It's usable, but just barely. Having them clicked into the center dock, a lot better. But how many of us just play with a Pro Control just because? Like it's just way more comfortable. The buttons are more accessible. Um, I will say for the mini cons, the clickiness of the buttons and the accuracy was very good. The stick drift for quite a few of the early ones, not so good. Nintendo having to admit to built-in, what do they call it, or it's designed to fail after a short time. What do they call that? Built-in obsolescence. At least that's what the courts called it, where they had purposely designed the Joy-Cons to fail eventually so that you would have to buy more. That
I
sucked.
mean, at least they repaired them for free. I had to
Yeah,
send in
after
two,
legal
and that's
action.
it. Oh, yeah.
But still, beyond that, the portability, the accuracy of everything, the titles, huge home run for Nintendo.
The third party support really like night and day between the beginning and now. Like the Switch 2 direct that we had, what was it, last month, I think.
Yeah.
All the third party games coming out.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to see all these developers lining up to show their support. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Oh,
This is the best time to be a Nintendo fan. The
yeah.
very best time to be a
Even
Nintendo
EA
fan.
is coming this time. I mean, they're putting Madden on it, and which just got me thinking they own Respawn, so theoretically they could put the Star Wars Jedi Survivor games on there, which would actually be really cool if they did that. Because EA famously couldn't care less about the Switch at first and gave a real half-hearted attempt. I think the only thing they really put on it was FIFA, and that was about it for a while.
And
And
that
then
was a
that
train
proved,
wreck.
yeah, and that proved to be a totally wrong judgment on how the Switch would do. So it's interesting to see that this time, like, oh no, we're in lightly, but we're in.
So you think there's going to be any pitfalls with the Switch 2, or do you think it's going to be a pretty gradually smooth release and transition from 1 to 2?
I think a lot of people are going to hang on to their
Yeah,
original Switches
yeah,
because the Switch appealed to a very large market, whereas the Switch 2, I think only the hardcore dedicated fans are getting Switch 2s right now.
at first, yeah.
Yeah, at first. And I think, obviously, the price point is a factor. It is expensive, but as we're seeing, the other consoles are raising their prices. At least Xbox. Uh,
PlayStation's going to. They're going to.
and they're going to. Ironically, they are this consoles are on sale or going to be on sale
Oh, I saw that.
during
Yeah,
the whatever they call it, the
yeah.
days of
By
play.
the end of the year, they're going up for sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they will be going up, and uh, then the Switch had a pretty strong launch. I don't think as strong as this. I think this is definitely
This
a
is on
contender
pace.
for fastest selling console of all time.
Yeah, it's on pace to be.
It's definitely on pace for that. But we'll just have to wait and see, how the rest of this year goes. We have a lot of strong titles. Pokemon ZA, Legend ZA just got the release date announced, October 16th. So, maybe we'll see Metroid Prime in September. We still don't have a Mario game announced. That could be their November game because we are in the 40th anniversary. In October, September and October will be when they would celebrate it officially because September 13th, 1985 is when Super Mario Brothers was released in Japan. October 11th was uh, the US, I believe. So
Just in time
September,
for
October,
Christmas sales.
yeah. Um, Still don't know a lot of when these other third-party titles are going to be coming,
Well, yeah, I
but
think we're gonna find out. I think in the next month. So next week is Summer Game Fest. Nintendo is gonna be there for the first time ever. To what capacity? Probably not much, but I think third parties you might hear some. Xbox has their showcase. They're not gonna announce Switch stuff during their showcase, but again, I think once this console is out, dates are going to be coming out pretty quick. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more. They're going to be a lot more loosey goosey with the news. They've been very, as Nintendo is keep a tight lid on everything and as much as they can for the past until the launch. I think once it's launched, I think we're going to hear a lot of dates. And I bring up those other things because not to always bring it up, but Silk Song, I mean, that's coming to Game Pass right away, so that could show up. A lot of these third party and indie games are on all the platforms. So with Summer Games Fest, with the Xbox Showcase, if PlayStation does something, any of these games could get their dates during those shows. And then there is going to be a direct sometime in June. Some people said either next week or the week after. I think it's probably going to be late June, but we'll see. But there's definitely going to be a direct sometime this coming month. And I think we're going to get a lot of dates, a lot more information. Then I think they're just focused on, and that's why all their marketing has been about the console itself and Mario Kart. But because I think once the thing is out there, then they're going to start focusing on all the major software coming out. So anyway, I agree with you. I mean, I wish we knew when these things were coming, but I think it's all this time next month. I think we're gonna have a lot more answers, and I do think, next time we record a podcast, we will have heard from Phil Spencer and Xbox. I think, again, I don't think it's gonna be at their showcase, but I do think sometime this month we're gonna hear what they actually are bringing over, what they plan to bring, and I was thinking, I mean, it's next year, it's not coming out this year, but I'd love to see Fable on Switch if it could run it. I don't know if it could run it, but if it could, I'd love to see Fable on Switch too. So. Hopefully, we get some answers. I think we'll get some answers about, again, Halo, if it's Master Chief or whatever, Gears or the new Gears Reloaded or whatever it's called. I think we're going to get some of that this month, which will be cool.
as much as I would love to see Halo on Switch, and I would buy it for sure, it's hard to see any kind of financial gain from Halo being on the Switch because Halo is very like multiplayer based, even the older ones. I mean, like if you port, let's say Master Chief Collection, and you leave out ODST and Reach, which are the rumored
Yeah.
titles that they would leave out. They would just do 1 through 4, which is fine, whatever. You definitely have to bring over some type of multiplayer. And I guess you could do just local, but
What can't they do online?
I think 343 or Halo Team or Halo
Yeah, whatever it's
Studios,
called
whatever you
now.
want to call them, they are definitely focused on Infinite.
Hmm.
I don't know how many people are still playing Master Chief Collection online. I would still be because that's what I prefer. But I do hope that Halo comes to the Switch too in some way, shape. I would prefer Master Chief Collection. I don't really care for Infinite. I never finished it. It just got, I don't know. It just didn't feel like Halo. It just felt like it was trying to be something else. Which is whatever. The franchise needs to evolve. It needs to change. It needs to. I think that Halo in my personal opinion, should have just stopped with 3. 4 is okay. It could have stopped with 4 also. But now in 5, you made Master Chief's, into this villain. Cortana's psychotic, and Infinite, I'm not sure how it ends. Don't tell me, or tell me. I don't really care. But it's not the same. So I do hope that they bring over like Master Chief Collection, because it would be fun just to play those campaigns again. But those games are also really multiplayer heavy, and I don't know what kind of profit they would make, because I mean, at the end of the day, video games are a business, and
Yeah,
you got to make money off of them.
well, I think the incentive for them is, bless their hearts. I mean, they're not selling consoles. Series X, I have a Series X, of course, but Series X, Series S, they're not selling many. Now, the Switch, if you think in Switch 1 numbers, that would be over 100,000 consoles they could be on that they're not now. Now, obviously, Switch 2 isn't out yet, but the thought being, the Switch 2 is definitely going to outsell the Series X and Series S, so they want to put their games on there, whether it's Halo or whatever it is, because that's putting their games available to more people than on their own hardware. So I think
Okay.
that's where they make their money.
Do you think? I mean, there would be obviously some kind of cross-platform
I would think.
playability,
I
right?
would think, yeah. The other
You
nice thing,
don't you don't think that they would require an Xbox Live membership to play?
I don't think so because they don't really do live anymore.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, it's all
I
pretty much
haven't
through
been
Game
on
Pass.
Xbox Online in years,
Yeah, I think
so
it's all been absorbed into Game Pass.
all right. So then there's another thing. Would you think that Game Pass could come to Switch too?
I used to. The thing is, Xbox games are like 100 gigs each.
Yeah.
So unless they like made smaller versions for the Switch, which I guess they would have to either way. So then possibly they do have xCloud, which is game streaming, which nobody really does, but that is something they could offer. I could see that. Unless they make, which they would have to make some downgrades to put on Switch 2. So I'm not ruling Game Pass for Switch out. Historically, based on what I've heard, it's Nintendo that's not interested. Uh,
And they don't have to be, because
and they
they
don't have
don't,
to
I mean,
be,
they
but
don't need it.
again, I mean, for them, it would have made a lot of sense the past few years, Xbox. I mean, to be on 120,000 or 160, however many it is, 150,000 switches, 150 million, I'm sorry, switches, would be a huge gain for them if they could have put Game Pass on there. But Nintendo's like, meh, what's it to us? So I think, so I think if they do, if they don't, it's not because of Microsoft, is what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, maybe they could have their own, what am I trying to say here? Their own Game Pass for the Switch, where
Own
those
tier,
titles
yeah.
weren't so that large.
Yeah.
But
What would you guys think about, say, a streaming service that caters to all three of the companies? So as long as you have your Sony membership, your Switch Online, your Xbox membership, you could all access cross-compatible games just to stream, not to download, because like you said, Xbox games are fat, very fat. But to stream and do online multiplayer that way,
Yeah, that could be cool.
I mean, ideally that would be nice.
in a
I
perfect world.
In a perfect world, because I mean, Xbox has the whole like, this is an Xbox,
Play
that's an
anywhere. Yeah,
Xbox, this is an
this is an
Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah.
Right.
They're talking about the cloud gaming. They're
Right.
talking
Right.
about
Right.
like remote play,
Right.
essentially. So yeah, if Nintendo offered like the remote play app for PlayStation and whatever the Xbox is, Xbox remote play,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's
Right.
called,
I
but
think it is just Game Pass at this point. They called it something
Yeah.
else. I think it's Game Pass.
I mean, I could see that being a possibility, but it would also go against the whole play anywhere thing, because you would need an internet connection to do it.
Well, to stream, yeah, but you could
Yeah,
still
the
play it.
stream.
Yeah, if you have an internet, you could play it anywhere. Like if you have a hotspot or Wi-Fi on a plane or library or something.
Right.
I mean, right now Nintendo is kind of like the ball's in their court.
Oh yeah,
They're on top right now. They're calling the shots. as you can see with like the price points and everything, and they're they're in control for the first time in a long time. They're in control. I don't believe in the whole console wars because each console I truly believe has their own advantages, disadvantages, whatever. But if you had to reignite the war right now, Nintendo's kind of winning.
I think they won, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony's hurting, and Microsoft, they're, I don't want to say flailing, but that's why they're doing this as an Xbox, because what they were doing, they knew wasn't working, so they're trying anything they can, which I respect that they're changing. Sony's kind of a mess in their own way. I mean, their first party stuff is not good, and the direction they've been going, they've been chasing the live service trend. They've had to cancel some games. I don't know what they have in the hopper right now, first party wise.
We have to have The Last of Us 2 HD plus
Exactly.
Max Pro.
Exactly. Aside from that, Astrobot, if not for Astrobot, I don't know what they've had lately, like in the past few years.
They've had, I mean,
But it wasn't
first
them.
party.
First party. I know
I
what you're
mean,
gonna say, but
I guess if you would count the exclusivity of Rebirth on
no,
it,
see, that's not first party. That's what I mean, though.
yeah, that's what
First
I
party
mean.
does, yeah, because of them or what was your other one? Stellar Blade? That doesn't count. Like,
Yeah, cool. I guess not even Horizon because that's Gorilla.
but they own that. I would give you
Yeah,
Horizon.
yeah.
They own that. But anyway, my point being that they're all struggling except Nintendo. They're the only ones who are still on top for now.
Well, Nintendo's
Perhaps
always
it's
had
safe
good
to
first
say.
party stuff.
Perhaps it's safe to say that the war is over, but that would be a topic for another time.
Perfectly
In the
done.
meantime, I think we've chowed down on this Nintendo steak long enough. Gentlemen, do you have anything to add before we close up for the night?
The next time you see us, we will have Switch 2s in hand. And we will all be changed men.
Let's
We'll have a
hope
lot
so.
more answers. June's a
Yeah.
fun time. I mean, they don't do E3 anymore, but Summer Game Fest, IGN does something that no one really watches, but that's a thing. Xbox has their thing, Nintendo will have their thing. I mean, June's a fun. It's funny. I usually am like hyped for all this stuff, but I'm so focused on Switch 2, I haven't really thought much about it. But it's actually all coming up, and it's all a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's a good time coming.
And you bunch of pirates got me into Mario Kart now, so the very first thing I'll be digging into is Mario Kart World and getting good as best as I can.
There you go.
If all goes well next week, we'll all be playing it on Thursday.
Yep.
So
All right.
I hope
Cool.
so. I hope things work out. I'm really
Well-
excited to play with you guys and use the game chat and stuff.
Right on. Well, that's the end of our show today. Say goodnight, nerds.
See you,
See you,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Till next time.